Now everybody, I'm Cantonese Cat. Good Bitcoin morning. This is a 4-hour chart of Bitcoin. Did again here. It's been respecting the arcs and angles and horizontals extremely well. I'm going to take off the Ichimoku here to kind of show up. Nope, I'm going to take off the Ichimoku here to show you how beautiful this whole Gann line has been in terms of market symmetry. It's been really respecting the angle and arc. Broke above the arc, backtest the arc, found a confluent zone over here between the arc, the horizontal, and the angle, and bounced hard. So I think that the next area is going to gravitate to is going to be this confluent zone over here at the arc, as well as the horizontal line over here, which is going to be back to 69,000. If you look at it in a little bit of a finer manner, you can kind of visualize maybe this is a little bit of an inverted head and shoulder pattern, and this is a breakout of the inverted head and shoulder pattern, just a low volume back test of that inverted head and shoulder. So it's probably going to end up pushing up higher. Now, I do think that it's going to go up even higher than that. I think this level has already been tested multiple times, and you got a very nice accumulation pattern here. So it's probably going to push through about the 69,000. And if you push above the 69,000 area, that means that you are pushing above the previous. Let me zoom out here a little bit. That means you're really pushing above the previous cycle high over here. And once that area is able to break through, then I think some pretty nice things are probably going to happen after that. For those who think that's going to have to come back down and back test some stuff, like I don't think so at this point, just because you look at the market structure, even on the daily chart, you can see it's just been forming higher highs and higher lows ever since the August 5th scare. So I think there's a fundamental shift in terms of trend all the way from the top here going down. It's been forming lower highs and lower lows, and then it's shifted ever since you came back down and grabbed liquidity down in 49,000. So I think most likely you're going to have a lot of these kinds of like bullish continuation on a lower time frame, on a higher time frame too. There's not really any particular reason on the weekly for it to backtest the Ichimoku anymore, because this 53,000 over here back in September is also already backtested. You finally have a bullish cross over here, and you also have a lot of demand zone down here that had already been backtested. There's not really any particular reason for it to have to come down here to test this confluent of support, because it already did that. Bulma support band, Tekken Kijin, Super Ichi Cloud, all the support down here, they've already been backtested. So I think Bitcoin is primed to go higher. There's not really any particular reason for it to have to go down all the way to like 58 or like 51 or like 49. Like I just don't really see that being a likely scenario anymore at this point. And at this point, this whole area over here simply just looks like the exact same fractal as it was over here. You have the Bollinger Support Band kind of negative, like getting a little bit exhausted, negative slipping here. Price broke down underneath of it, served as resistance here for a couple of months, broke back above. The rest is history. Same thing's happening over here. Bollinger Support Band, exhaustion, price broke down, back to the resistance, broke back above, back tested it, and is ready to run. That I really do see like a bigger move is going to happen in Bitcoin, and it can be shock. It can shock a lot of people that are not aware of like these kinds of technical analyses and things like that. MSTR is already telling you what's going to happen. Like whales already know that Bitcoin is going to go higher. They're front running you. Like look at this. You can even, this is no joke, right? You have 6 months of inside candles over here, of this one over here, which basically tells you most likely you're going to have some kind of bullish continuation. And so far October is Uptober for MSTR. So far there's only another few days of trading days, but so far there's no wick up here for this Monday candle whatsoever. It looks like it wants to push up and have some further bullish continuation. Another stock I was kind of bullish on was Coinbase. I think that it had a fundamental shift change here in terms of the trend here as well. I think the lower time frame is been really forming more or less higher highs and higher lows, and right now you have a little bit of a higher high here compared to over here. And right now, even for the lower time frame here, it's all it's doing right now is just basically push above the Bollinger Support Band and back tested it. That's why I was loading a little bit heavier for Coinbase, just because I'm seeing some pretty decent things here. Now you look at why are the miners still kind of lagging here a little bit. And we're not talking about miners. Not all miners are lagging. You have a few that are, not lagging at all. But why are the miners kind of here lagging a little bit? And should we be concerned? The answer, I don't think you should be concerned, because this is a higher high here compared to this high over here. I do think that this is a trend change. I do think that we've already found the bottom here for the miners. And across the board, you're basically trying to flip the bullish support band here from negative sloping to flat, potentially reclaim it, and then turn to positive sloping to allow further bullish continuation. I think that this high volume candle right into resistance tells us that it wants to push through, but it's just needed to cool down and needed to wait for the technicals to kind of work out. I am not bearish on Clean Spark, because if you also just look at a higher time frame, it basically just backtested a rising 20-month moving average. This month has a very, very nice bounce, and the volume is pretty decent as opposed to the downtrend here on declining volume. You're starting to have a little bit of pickup of volume over here. So I think Clean Spark is probably going to do just fine. And if you are looking into some of the other technical indicators, it is getting rejected not just by the bullish support band, it's also getting rejected here by the 0.618. We did end up having a little bit of a close above that last week on high volume, which is promising, but so far we're getting a little bit of rejection, and that's okay. I mean, things probably just need time to kind of play out here. The truth is, it is trying to find some support underneath. It's getting a little bit of support here at the Tsubishi tank, and it's just playing out as technicals. I think it's going to be fine. I think the down move here has already been done. It found support here at 0.5. All price is doing with Clean Spark is it goes up multiple FIP levels, come back down, like up here from the bottom here, goes up like 4 FIP levels, came back down to back test 2, goes up 3, back test 2, goes up 3, back test 2. This is a bull trend. This is a higher low here compared to over here, and we're finding support here at the angle over here. So I think we do need to reclaim this 0.618. I do think that we do need to reclaim the Ichimoku cloud eventually, but it's just probably going to take its time. That's why these miners are lagging here a little bit. Mara, same story. Really, you're looking at the very same thing here. You are finding support here at 0.5, but you are hitting some resistance here at the horizontal gain line over here. It's just needed some time to kind of get through. I do think that it wants to gravitate up here towards the bottom of the cloud, which is around 20.5. That's the next level it's going to gravitate to. But you're hitting some snag here, hitting horizontal line over here, hitting the bounce band resistance here. Initially last week, it kind of get a little bit above of that. This week, we are just kind of getting a little bit rejected, coming back down, but it's turning flat. So when it turns flat, that tells me there's a good chance that we're going to probably bring it above of it eventually. But it's probably just going to take time. Bitfarms basically have very similar technicals. It basically found support here on the gain angle, found support at 0.5. It has very, very similar technicals with Mara on a higher time frame. Basically, all of these look pretty much the same. If you look at the monthly here, you look at the Bollinger Band, you can see a rising 20 as support, bounce off the 0.5. What is Bitfarm doing? You have the same thing here happening. You have the rising 20-month moving average serving as support. You have all these demand wicks down here. These are not bearish here at all. And on top of that, you're also bouncing on the 0.5. So basically, they're very, very similar charts between Mara and Bitfarms. I would not be bullish on one and be bearish on the other. That just doesn't make a whole lot of sense to me. Unless you're looking at a lower time frame, then yes, then Bitfarm is indeed lagging behind just a little bit, but sometimes actually light laggers right near support rather than things that can start to kind of run here a little bit. So yeah, I'm not bearish on Bitfarms. Same thing with Cypher. It's got a rising 20-month moving average as support right at the arc here as well. Came back down, came back up here. So far hitting a little bit of a resistance here on the Bollinger Band, but I think it's going to continue to expand. The next level is going to go to is around like $7 or $8. That's where I think it's going to go. But so far you are still hitting a strong resistance zone here around $5.5. You can just see like the horizontal zone over here has just been a very, very strong resistance here over the years. And once it breaks above, if it's not a wick, it's probably going to end up being a very, very powerful move. So I'm still pretty bullish on Cypher. Have a position. This is one that is not getting rejected here at the bonus support band, right? It's reclaimed it. It got rejected last month, but it's reclaimed it, and it looks like it wants to run now. So yeah, it looks very bullish. Iron got underneath the bonus support band, trying to reclaim it. Bonus support band is fat. You have increasing volume during this uptrend. I think it's going to reclaim the bonus support band, and I think it's going to be just fine. Iron should continue to run. Wolf, you had a little bit of a dilution news, offering, whatever you call it. But look at how big volume this candle is. I think it's a very, very bullish chart. A lot of people are starting to kind of rotate from Wolf to other stocks because they are worried about the dilution, because this is so overextended here on like a lower time frame. But on a higher time frame, is not overextended? Maybe a little bit, you know. It's not too entirely overextended here on the weekly. On the monthly, it's still a little bit overextended. Okay, fine. So you might have a little bit of cool down, but the lower Bollinger Band is also going down here. This is a very parabolic bull trend. I would not bet against Wolf right now. It is at resistance here at the horizontal. It is at resistance, it's a little bit overextended, but I would not bet against it right now. Looking at the other stock here, cores, I don't have much price history. Look at the monthly. On the weekly, it looks like it wants to continue, but the Bollinger Band is stirring a little bit of resistance here. But there's also a high volume green candle over here too. So I'm not going to bet against cores. I just don't know enough about it. I mean, in terms of the technicals, I think it's probably going to be having some bullish continuation. The only thing to be cautious about is that even though price has been going up, it's been going up a little bit on a bearish divergence. So just be a little bit more mindful, but price can go up a lot higher on bearish divergence. That doesn't really bother me at all. And I think with Bitcoin probably doing pretty well moving forward, I think Course is going to do just fine. BTBT, what are you going to see here on the monthly? Same thing, right? Rising 20-month moving average. This basically looks pretty bullish here as well. And if you look at the GAN, it's already kind of broke above my GAN angle in my arc over here. So the only thing is trying to get above the 0.5, and so far as underneath resistance of that, together with the upper Bollinger Band here on the weekly. So all of these things are kind of underneath resistance here a little bit, but the technicals are looking better and better. I think it's probably just needs a little bit more time to kind of play out. Riot, what's Riot doing? I think it's probably end up gravitating up towards the top of the arc over here. Maybe even to the upper Bollinger Band, because it bounced from the lower Bollinger Band very strongly. It has some pretty nice bullishness going to it. I think it's probably going to form a little bit of a lower high here, either around like 11.8 or something like that, the the upper Bollinger Band, or a little bit lower around, depends on where it hits the arc. Or it could potentially go to like 13. I also can potentially see Riot hitting like $13, right? Which is, well, I guess the bottom of the cloud here is also a little bit troublesome, right? Around 11.7, somewhere around there. But I can potentially see it hitting cloud here and getting rejected here at this horizontal zone where it got rejected here many times, right? I can see it doing that. And if it ends up getting rejected there, then we'll have to cool down here. Hopefully the cloud would be service support, assuming that we went through the cloud. But if it ends up getting rejected in the cloud, then you might end up having to come back down here, find support here in the arc before going up higher, right? Just because price went up a lot doesn't mean that the bear trend has been reversed. So far, Riot is still one of those that I'm still a little bit cautious about, only because I look at a higher time frame here. And on the higher time frame, the Bollinger Band is telling me that, hey, 20-month moving average is curling up, but currently price is still underneath of that. There are two ways to look at it. You have a lot more room for it to kind of go back up to retrace to the mean, which means you can potentially have a lot more gain, moving forward. But you're also hitting a lot of resistance there coming up soon. So as far as Riot is concerned, yeah, like, I if I was in it, I would end up like taking profits, and I probably wouldn't be staying in it for too long. That's kind of my thinking on that. So anyway, I just want to do a quick update on my thoughts on Bitcoin, what I think moving forward on miners. I have given previous videos about like price target and things like that. Just watch my other videos if you're interested in hearing what I think about price targets. But I just want to give you a little bit of a update in terms of like what I'm seeing here. I'm not bearish. I think that miners are understandably, because they've been kind of stuck in a destruction loop here for like the last few months at least. They're probably just going to need some time to improve their technicals. When things like MicroStrategy is going to have their final run up a lot higher, get a little bit more exhausted, and then things I think we eventually end up rotating back to the miners based on what I'm seeing. I could be wrong, but that's kind of how I'm positioned. Anyway, take care. Have a good one. Bye.